Hello friends, welcome back to this tutorial on Hyperledger Cactus. In the last video we have seen the workflow of Hyperledger Cactus, and today we are going to have a code walkthrough of Cactus workflow implementation. So as I already told you, I am not going to show you the interoperability of two blockchains, but rather in this tutorial I am going to show you how we can connect Hyperledger Fabric using Cactus and perform the transactions. Just one blockchain we are using, and there is no interoperability happening in this session. But I will show you how we can achieve this interoperability while having this code walkthrough. Let me first open examples which the community already shared along with that framework, Cactus framework. This is the Hyperledger Cactus, the entire project I have downloaded. And here you can see there are so many examples which they have given. And if you open any of the examples, you can take any of these examples as a template which is using the blockchains which you needed. Here I am using the Cartrade, this blockchain. And here in this folder, inside this examples Cartrade, all the business logic plugin has been implemented here in this folder. And the other folder which we are using will be the packages. Inside these packages, inside this folder, these are all the plugins corresponding to each blockchain which we needed to connect to specific blockchains. For example, here I am using this Cactus plugin Ledger Connector Fabric Socket IO, and this plugin Cactus CMD Socket IO server. These are two important plugins which we are going to use in this demo. And there are other libraries also like Cactus Common, Cactus Core, Core API. These are all the libraries which will be used by these blockchain specific plugins. So let me open my project. This is Cactus Healthcare project I have done in Hyperledger Cactus framework. Let me open the diagram. Here we have this much in the upper section of this diagram, Cactus node server. This will expose an HTTP server to utilize the service from a client application. I am going to walk you through each and every classes which is used in this workflow. Inside these packages, Cactus CMD Socket IO server, inside source routing interface. Here www.ts, this is the entry point to Cactus service. We are using Node.js to set up our localhost server. Here the config util.getConfig file, we are reading configuration values from default and user settings files that is inside this default and user settings. So here the application host info, host name and port 5034, this information we are reading from this configuration file. Here it is creating that server, and here we are passing app class as the request listener. There are two event listeners, one error, on error, and listening. These are all the two event listeners we are created here for this server events. Now let us go to this app class. We are using Node Express framework to create this server. Using Node Express, we can make middlewares to respond to HTTP requests. There are two routers, static routers we have set up here. Based on the URI, it will select the router file. So here in this app.ts, we have implemented the logic to select the proper router file. There are two types of loading we are using. One is static and the next one is dynamic loading. In the static loading, it is hard coded. The path the URI and the corresponding file path we have hard coded here, and in the dynamic it is reading from the configuration file. Router files inside this routes folder. These are just templates added, and you can utilize these templates to implement your functionality. Here in this demo we are using dynamic router loading, and for that we are using this user settings YAML file and app routers. For this URI, this router will be used, patients.js, and let's move on to the patient.js file. This is the router for this URI. Here we are creating a business management object, and there are 3 router handlers here, 2 for get method and 1 for post method. Based on the HTTP request method and the URI, it will select the proper router. In all the cases, it is calling business management start business logic and passing the request object as a parameter. The response which we are getting is sent back to the client application with a status code 200. And now let's go to this business management start business logic method. That class is inside this Cactus CMD socket IO server. Start business logic returns a promise. This is an asynchronous method and it is returning a promise. Using the business logic ID which we are passing from the client application, it is there in the request body. We are identifying which business plugin object needs to be created. Here we are checking the business logic ID. Based on that, calling this method get target BLP instance and returning the corresponding business plugin class. Here I have created 2 classes, one for add patient and a second for search patient. Once it created the business class object, then we need to call the method. The object is selected dynamically, and we do not know which class object has been created. Here I am using the constructor name to verify which business object has been created, and if it is BL search patient, then I am calling the query record method, and if it is BL add patient, then I am invoking start transaction method. The parameters which we are passing are request and business logic ID. Here in this case I am passing an additional parameter which is transaction ID. This transaction ID is created using the datetime, and it is just a unique identifier. This is important when we are using multiple blockchains and the business workflow spans across multiple blockchains. Here we are just using one blockchain and it is not that important. Now let's move on to the business plugin class. If you click on this query record and go to definition, it will be navigated to the interface, because all the class is derived from a base class and it is inherited from the interface. We are using this method. So at this point in time we may not be knowing which plugin class is getting created. So you can add any implementation in the child class. That is how we are injecting the business logic dynamically into this workflow. Let me open BL search patient. Here the class BL search patient that derived from business logic base class. Here it is business logic base class, and business logic base class implements business logic plugin. This is our interface. Here in this base class we have added dummy functions for all the methods which is there in the interface. Advantage of adding a base class here is in our business plugin class we need not add all the methods which we have defined in the interface. Otherwise, if you are not adding a base class, then all the interface implementation should be there in all the business plugin classes. Here The advantage is that you can only implement the methods which we are going to use in your class. This is the place where you will be implementing all your transactions. So if there are multiple blockchains involved in your transaction, then you can implement that workflow inside this class, because the blockchain connection entry point is from this layer. Now in this method query record, we are passing request and business logic ID, and this also an asynchronous method returning a promise. First it is creating a validator and then a verifier object. To connect to the ledger, we need validator and a verifier object. Here if you go to that verifier factory, get verifier, this is returning a verifier object, and when we are creating the verifier object, it is calling the start monitor method, and it starts monitoring the ledger. After creating the validator and verifier object, we are calling make signed proposal method from the transaction fabric class, and the result we are returning to the calling method. Now let us go to the make signed proposal method in the transaction fabric class. Here the input parameters are chain code function name, chain code arguments, and a verifier object. It is returning a promise. In this method, the entire function body is inside the promise constructor. So if there any error happens, it would be converted to a rejection and return an error object. If the promise return value is not in a proper format, then it will throw an error. Creating a dictionary transaction proposal request. So the entire purpose of this class is to create a signed proposal that we will be using to send request to the Hyperledger Fabric service. To sign a request, we need a certificate and the private key. When I am creating this video, the message signing is not working. This functionality currently we are not using. We are just passing this message as it is. But in future it will be resolved, and then at that time we can use this signed proposal. Right now we are not signing this proposal. Here, based on the chain code function name, we are adding a method dictionary having two values, one type and command. For add patient, the type is submit transaction, and the command is add patient. For read patient, it is function and query. And then creating args param. Here we are adding these objects into this dictionary. Then we are calling send sync request from the verifier object. Here the verifier fabric we received as an input parameter. The parameters are contract. Here it has the channel name, and method has type and command, and then args parameter. Basically this args parameter will have these objects. The return value is sending back to the calling method. Now let's move on to the send sync request method. This is in the verifier class. Here it is generating a request ID, a unique identifier for sending the request to the WebSocket. So in the WebSocket, the connection persists. In HTTP protocol, when a client sends a request, the server will return a response and the connection terminated. But in WebSocket, when client send request to the server returns a handshake and the connection persists. It is a bidirectional communication, and for using this request ID, it is checking IDs are same to verify that the response received is corresponding to the request we have sent. Here we are preparing the socket and adding event listeners. Here the socket, here creating the socket object and adding the event listeners. In case of any error, we are terminating the connection by calling the socket.disconnect method. An event listener for response is added here. This is the event listener body. Once the client socket receives response from the server, it will verify using validator public key. It will verify using the verify method of JSON web token. This is the payload, and public key Then options, here the option is algorithm. We are using the algorithm ES256. This algorithm represents that the message security is achieved using asymmetric key pairs, that is a private key to encrypt message and corresponding public key to decrypt it. And with the verification success, the decoded message will be sent back to the verifier. That value we are setting status code also in the result object and returning that to the calling function. These are all the socket event listeners we are adding to the client side. And the server request we are sending from here, socket.emit. Request 2 is custom event, and the request data we are passing this dictionary. There are two ways to send request to the server. One is emit and another method is send. If you are using send method, then you won't be able to use custom events. Here this is a custom event that we can use in case of emit. Listener will be added at the server side. Now let us move on to the Fabric Socket IO service setup. Let me close all these. Fabric Socket IO service is inside this Cactus plugin ledger connector, Fabric Socket IO. Inside source, main, common, core, bin. This is the entry point to the Fabric service. This is using a secure HTTP protocol. We are importing server plugin here and creating an object of this class. We will go through this server plugin class in a moment. Here this is server monitor plugin, and creating an object for server monitor plugin class also. As it is a secure connection, we need to use a private key and a certificate to create the server. Here it is creating the server, passing this SSL param and the request listener app class, and here we are initializing the server socket. And this server level we have added two event listeners, one for error and another for listening. One error and one listening. There is an event listener added for the connection event, and this event listener is applicable for the current client connected to the server, and this event listener will be active until the connection between the server and the current client terminated. Whatever event handlers written inside this connection event listener will be applicable for this currently connected client, and we can add listeners for the client also. There is an event listener added for request event, and here it is the function body. And in this demo we are using this event listener request 2. Because when we are sending request to the server, passing request to as the event, this is the event listener for request 2. Inside this function, first it is checking the method type. You have seen that we are setting the method type from transaction fabric. Here submit transaction, and method type is function, and that is used here. If the method type is submit transaction or evaluate transaction, we are invoking contract transaction method from the server plugin class. And another method type we are using is function. If the method type is function, we are invoking invoke function from this server plugin class. We are calling these two methods based on the method type. And other event listeners added are start monitor, stop monitor and disconnect. When start monitor event is fired, it is calling the server monitor start monitor method to monitor the ledger. When Cactus is used for blockchain interoperability, the ledger needs to be monitored continuously for new blocks being added successfully to the ledger. That's what this monitoring method does. Stop monitor, it will call the stop monitor on server monitor object, and when disconnect again it stops monitoring. And we need not have this stop monitoring. We can have whenever it disconnects, automatically it should stop monitoring, and when it is connected it should start monitoring. So this may not be needed. And now we have gone through all the main functionality here in www.ts, And let's move on to server plugin class. For this function we are calling invoke function, and this is the server plugin class. Here the main function for this is query. This is a function we are calling this method, passing these parameters we are receiving when this method is invoked. We are calling query. This method is used to connect to the blockchain and execute chain code functions. Once it returns value, first the validator will sign the result. We have seen the verifier is verifying the result which returned from the server, and there we have used jwt.verify. Here the validator will sign the message before sending back to the verifier. So here it is using the same algorithm ES256 representing asymmetric keys. Then it is signing and sending this payload back to the calling function. Here the signed result will be sent back with the status code 200. Now let's go to the query method. So this function is used to connect the blockchain and get a value from the ledger. These steps are similar to what we have done in the Hyperledger Fabric tutorial. So first it is creating a wallet object, then checking the identity if the user is exist or not. For this demo, I am creating a user if it is not already existing, and then creating a gateway object and using that gateway.connect method and passing common connection profile and connection options. These values it is connecting to the network, and this CCP common connection profile it is using the connection.json file. Then creating a network using gateway.getNetwork method, and it is getting the contract from the network, and that contract object is used to execute chain code functions. Here get all patients we are calling evaluate transaction, passing the function name. Here also same evaluate transaction, but we are passing the argument, the patient ID, because this is search patient and we need to pass the ID of the patient. Then it is returning the result back to the www.ts class. That's how Cactus is connecting to the blockchain and executing the chain code functions. Now let me quickly go to the add patient path also. That also exactly similar to this search patient. Here it is contract transaction. In this case we are calling invoke sync method, and the remaining all exactly similar. And here also doing the validator authentication sign. It is signing the result. Let me go to this invoke sync function. The same, creating the wallet and enrolling the user if user is not already there. And here the only difference is instead of evaluate transaction we are calling submit transaction on this contract and passing all the parameters. And that is the end of this code walkthrough. Now let's go to the application and run the blockchain and Cactus services and see how it is working. My blockchain project is in this folder. Opening a terminal. And giving commands to make the blockchain network up and running. These steps you already have seen in the blockchain tutorial. Now creating the channel. While setting this blockchain, we can also start our Cactus services. In this folder, I am opening another terminal. This is for Cactus service, and we need one more terminal that is for the blockchain services. That is inside these packages. Open a terminal from here. So first we need to do npm run build. Here also I am giving the same command, npm run build. Deploying the chain code. Here npm run start. The same command, npm run start. This server is listening 5034. This is our Cactus service, and this one Hyperledger Fabric service. Because this also running, and that's why the system is too slow. Yeah, here it is running on 5040. Let's wait for this blockchain up and running. Okay, now our blockchain is up and running. These are all the dockers corresponding to each PS, CouchDB, and certificate authority, and the chain codes. Let me open a CouchDB database also to see the records. CouchDB is running on 7984. Here the CouchDB, and you can see the records here. These are all the patient records. And now we have everything set up. I have created one Node.js test application to simulate another blockchain. Let me open that project. Here what I am doing is I am sending request from this application. Here you can see that localhost 5034 where it is running the Cactus service, and for getting the patient record, search patient record, this is a Node.js application. This will be running as a server. I am using that Express framework. Using Express framework we can set up the server component to listen to the HTTP request. If you pass this URI endpoint search patient, then it will invoke this event listener, and for add patient I have added this add patient URI endpoint. Now let me open a browser. Here we can use the same browser, localhost and 3000. Oh, before that we need to run this application Node app. Now it is listening on the port 3000, and let me enter search patient. Now the request will hit here. Here you got the response from the blockchain. This is the Cactus service, and here the steps. If you see that it is listening on this port, and in the business management class using this business logic ID, it's using this class BL search patient, and after that it is using verifier. Using the verifier factory it is creating a verifier object, and this is the fabric verifier, the content of fabric verifier, and then sending the transaction proposal. This argument we are sending the patient ID, and then getting the from the verifier it is sending a request to the web socket, and from there it is getting the response, the patient record. Let me open that. Okay, here. So now we have passed this this ID. Search patient we have used this ID. If I change this ID, I am modifying this ID using, I am giving another ID here, and now restarting my server. Restarting my server, and when I send this request, call this search patient, you will get the record corresponding to that that patient ID. And on the Fabric service side, here server monitor plugin, it starts monitoring, and then Fabric access using this class, it is creating a new channel connected, and so using the server plugin it is executing the query and then getting the response. This is encrypted response which we are receiving from the verifier. Now let's run this add patient. I have set up a patient record to add when this router is invoked. Here now you can see 4 records are there, and now I am invoking add patient. That also executed successfully. Here the status code 201 has been returned. That means it successfully created the record. And if you go to that CouchDB database and refresh, yeah, there is one more record added using this service. So that is how the interoperability working using Cactus. So here I didn't use two blockchains, just one blockchain simulating another blockchain to add or retrieve record from a blockchain. This code you can use from some other blockchain to connect to the Fabric network. That's all on this tutorial. If you have any questions, just let me know. Thank you very much for watching this video.